Hello and welcome to this short tutorial on how to log in into the virtual machine provided by the System Commands course using the SSH keys. So you might already know that you cannot log in into the virtual machine using passwords anymore. So this has been done as a security measure and you can only log in using SSH keys. So let us see how we can create the SSH keys and then submit the public key so that we can log in into the virtual machine. So the first steps may be a little different depending on whether you're using Linux or Unix or Mac or whether you're using Windows. So for the people who are using Linux or Unix or Mac or even using Windows with WSL or Windows subsystem for Linux and already have WSL set up, they can follow these instructions, whereas for people using only Windows and PowerShell can follow these instructions instead. So we will now be demonstrating both these methods one by one. So let's start with the Linux way. So now let's see how we can log in into the VM without using a passwords. So we are not allowed to log in into the System Commands VM using passwords. So what we have to do is we have to first create the public and private key pair using SSH keygen, and then we have to copy the public key to the server. So first open your local system. So if you're using Windows, you can use PowerShell, or if you're using Linux in your local system as well, you can open any terminal and type this command ssh-keygen. So this will create a public and private key pair in your local system. So you can give -t and RSA to specify what type of key you want. So usually it will create RSA, but if you're using a updated version of this command, it will then create a ED key. So if you don't mention this, it will try to create a ED25519 key. But if you want to, let's say, create an RSA key, we can give -t RSA. So this will ask you where you want to store the key. So by default, it's stored in your own home directory inside the .ssh folder, and it is given a name id_RSA. So you can give a different name or a different path to this, but by default this is the path which will be used. So you can simply press enter, and then it will ask you for the passphrase. So this is optional. You can give a passphrase to this key so that the key is encrypted, and whenever you want to use this key, you will actually have to give this passphrase again. But for simplicity, let's skip this step and just press enter here. So we'll again press enter, and our private and public key pair is now created, and it's saved in the /home/your_username.ssh, and then id_RSA is your private key and id_RSA.pub is your public key. So this public key is something which you share to others and which you will upload to the server. So the first step is to first see now that whether the key is created or not. So let us cat out the key and see if it's created. So we'll go to the SSH folder and cat out the id_RSA.pub, and as you can see, the public key is now created. So I can simply copy this key from here by selecting it and pressing Ctrl+Shift+C if you're in a Linux terminal, or if you're on Windows PowerShell, you can right click and copy. Another way you can copy if you're on Linux is you can use the xclip or the xcell command. So this will put it into your clipboard. Then we open this website, which is fe2001.ds.study.iitm.ac.in, and here we have to log in with our IITM student email ID. So just select your student email ID, and then you will be redirected to this page where you will be asked to create the SSH key. So these are the exact steps which we took to create this SSH key. So once it's created, you can then copy the key, public key, from the location, and then you have to paste it in this form. So simply paste it from your clipboard, and the key should usually start with SSH-RSA or SSH-ED, and the username will be autofill. So you have to simply press submit, and the public key is now uploaded into the server. So now you can log in into the server using the commands given here. So SSH your roll number at se2001.ds.study.iitm.ac.in. So let's see if we can log in into the server. So we copy this command and we open a terminal again, and we simply have to paste this here. So the first time you are doing this, it will also ask you if you want to save this and do you trust this domain. So you have to simply type yes and press enter, and after that it will automatically log you in. So as you can see, now we are logged into the VM, and you can verify this by echoing the host name. So the host name is SE2001. So on your system, your host name will be whatever is your device's name. But once you have SSH'd into it, you are now inside the VM, and you will get the SE2001 as the host name. You can also see who is the account holder in which you are logged in. So that will be your register number. So that's all you need to do to log in into the VM. Now let's see how we can do the same thing if you're using Windows without WSL. So you will follow the following instructions. Let us see a demo now.
Yeah, this is a short tutorial on how to do SSH using Windows PowerShell. Type ls to see the files and folders present in your directory right now. Type ssh-keygen.exe and then press enter to generate SSH keys. There is no need to type anything, just press enter again, once again. Yeah, type ls. As you can see, there is a new folder created .ssh. Let's go into the folder cd.ssh, enter ls, type notepad.exe space id underscore rsa.pub and then press enter. Notepad just pop up. Copy the following line, go to the portal, scroll down, paste the line, press submit, copy the line, go to the PowerShell, observe the prompt which is right now in white color, paste the command which you have just copied right now and then press enter. Just type S. As you can see, the prompt has changed from white color to green color. That means you are right now in the virtual machine. You can execute some of the commands here if you want. pwd present working directory, ls cat the following file. After once you have done your work, you can type exit exit. Observe the last line, logout connection to sc2001.ds.study.iitm.ac.in closed, which means you just exited from the VM. Thank you.
Alright, so hopefully now I have successfully logged into the virtual machine. So let us see how we can navigate inside the virtual machine and how we can also view the assignments and solve the assignments inside the virtual machine. So the first and foremost thing you should do is read the readme.md file. So md is a markdown file. So readme file is a file which stores all the important instructions one should read first before proceeding. So you can find the readme file inside your home directory as well as inside the /opt/se2001 directory. So once you have read the readme file, you will understand how to do the basic tasks inside the virtual machine. Let us quickly demonstrate how we can solve the assignment 0. So right now I'm in my local system. Let me SSH into my virtual machine. So I have to provide my register number and then give a @ and then type se2001.ds.study.iitm.ac.in. . once you have provided the public key in the website successfully, this will automatically log you in. So as you can see, the prompt will now be like this. It will be your roll number at SE, and you can also confirm that you are inside the virtual machine using echo hostname, and should say SE2001. Now let us see how we can solve the assignments. First we can cat the readme.md, and if we want, we can, instead of cat, we can use batcat, so that will print it with colors. So here we can see that each assignment question will be found in /opt/SE2001 and then the name of the folder. So it will be assignment_0, assignment_1, etc. And the solution which you will have to write to submit has to be present in your home directory, and then a folder SE2001 and then the name of the folder. So once you have written the script and you are confident with it, you have to type synchro eval to evaluate whether your answer is correct or not. So if it's correct, you will get these two lines: evaluation successful, submission successful. If you do not get the evaluation successful, just try to see where your code might be wrong and then rewrite the code and then again do synchro eval. So there are other FAQs you can read from here. So you can use batcat, as we are doing, instead of cat, to display some files with the colors and in a paginated format. And you can also use tmux to multiplex your session so that you can have multiple applications open inside one SSH. So let us now see where we can find the questions. So as you can see, in your home directory you will have a readme file only and nothing else, and the path of this home directory is /home/your roll number. So now as you can see, we have only the readme file and we don't have any SE2001 folder in our home directory. So in our home directory itself, which is /home/21f1006567, we need to make a directory. So we can make a directory using the mkdir command. So we can say mkdir SE2001. So this will now create a empty folder in our home directory called SE2001. So we can then go inside that directory using cd SE2001, and here now this directory, which is in your home, your roll number and then SE2001, so this one will be an empty directory. So here we then have to create a folder for each of the assignments that we want to solve. So how can we see the name of the assignment folders that we have to create here? We can simply type ls/opt/SE2001. So you can see this path, which is different from your current path. This is a shared folder which is accessible to all students, but they cannot create anything here. They can only read files from here. So you're not supposed to go in this folder. You're just supposed to create the folder names same as the folder name here. So you can see in our current directory we don't have any folder. So let us create this folder called assignment0 in our current directory. So you can again use the mkdir command to create a folder. So I'll create a folder called assignment0, and we will then go inside that folder using cd. And now you can see this folder is empty. So any folder you create in your home directory will be initially empty. So here you can type the command synchro show to see the question. So if you are in the correct directory, which is your home directory /SE2001/assignment_0, so if the name is correct, then if you do synchro show, it will show you the question for that assignment. So you can see internally it will show the file /opt/SE2001 assignment0 readme.md. So you can directly use synchro show to see the question for this assignment. And here you can see there are multiple files. So let me go over each file one by one. So the evaluation file.sh, the evaluation script, is a file which contains the script which will actually evaluate whether your script which you write is correct or not. So we can see how that is there. So if you're, let's say, stuck, you can see how the evaluation script is written to understand why it may not be working. So we can see the evaluation script has some code which evaluates whether our script, which is supposed to be script.sh, is working correctly or not. So we don't actually have to do anything into the evaluation script. We should not try to change it. So even if we do, it won't be possible because we are not authorized to access this. So we can only read it, but we cannot remove it. So if I try to remove this, it will give me a permission error because we are not permitted to do this. For each assignment, the first thing you should do is print the readme.md. So this will tell you exactly what you have to do. So as you can see, the readme.md says that this is the 0th VM task and this is not graded, and this already has the solution provided to us. So this again reiterates that you have to use synchro eval to evaluate. So what we have to do now is we have to create a script called script.sh, and we have to store it inside our home directory. So this is currently in /opt/se2001, but we have to create a folder called se2001 in our home directory, and inside there we have to name it assignment_0 a folder, and then in that folder we have to create a script.sh. So for all of these assignments and practice questions, we have to create a folder for each of them, similarly how they are created here in our home directory. And in that file we have to do the following tasks. So the task is, the file takes a file name as an argument and print the hash value of that file name. So let us try to see how we can do that. So we also have a example file here, hello.txt, and we are told that this file's output from the script should be this one. So let us see how we can do this. So there are multiple ways to create a hash. So a few of them are the SHA or SHA hash. There are also something called MD hash, and there are also other hashes. So these SHA and MD are already pre-installed in Linux. So you can simply type MD sum or MD5 sum and then give it a file name to get a hash. So as you can see, the MD5 sum gives us a hash, but this is not the same as this one, and this is shorter. So MD5 is usually outdated now and no longer used because the hashes are small and people now have a pretty good database of what each hash means. So instead we will use the SHA hash. So to use the SHA hash, we have to see which SHA hash we want. So there are multiple SHA hashes. So if you type SHA and press tab twice, you can see there is SHA1, SHA224, SHA256, SHA384, SHA512 sums. And what the number means is basically the number of bits. So the more the number of bits, the longer the key will be, and also the more secure it will be. So let us see which SHA matches with this one. So if I do SHA1 sum hello.txt, you can see the number is not the same and it's also smaller. So let's try with SHA512 sum, and now you can see the number is still different, but it's way longer than what is expected. So let us now test with SHA256 sum, and now you can see that the text is matching exactly. So it's 133EE and then it's ending with 2D44, and the length is also exactly the same. So we have now understood that we need to use SHA256 sum and pass the file name to get the SHA. But this also gives a space and then the name of the text itself. So there are multiple ways in which we can only get the text. So let us see now how we can, instead of having the name of the file, we can have just the hash and nothing else. So we can use a command called as cut, which helps us to trim away some parts of a line. So in this case we want to cut with the space delimiter. So as you can see, there are two spaces here. So I want to cut with the delimiter of space. So I give space inside quotations to the -d flag, which takes which delimiter it should cut by. And then I ask the cut command to print only the first field, which is till the number 4. And this will then only print the hash till the number and nothing from the first space. So this is now exactly what we want, but instead of the hello.txt, we want the name of the file to be given to the script. So let us now create the script. First thing which we have to do is we have to create the file using either Vim or Nano, any editor you want. So once we are inside the file, we have to write the command which will give us the output. So before writing the command, what we do is we preface the file by mentioning which type of script this is. So we do this by writing hash and then exclamation mark. This is called shebang, and then we give the path of the interpreter which will run this. So for our case, this is bin bash, and here we will write the command which will give us the output. So as we saw earlier, what we can do is we can use SHA-256 sum and the name of the file, and then we can use cut to basically cut the space and then give us the first field from the space. However, this is usually not what is asked from the code. So if we just open the readme again, we can see that our script should take any file name as an argument and print the hash of that file. So ideally what should happen is if I give hello.txt, it should print this, but if I give it some other file, it should print the hash of that instead. So if I, let's say, give it readme.md, it should print me the hash of readme.md. So right now it's printing still the hash of hello.txt. That is because in our script what we have done is we have hard coded the text hello.txt. Instead, what we need to do is we need to pass whatever was passed as the first argument as the argument to the shash sum. So what we can do is we can, instead of this, we can add $1, and $1 basically means the first argument given to the script. So $0 will be the name of the script itself, $1 the first, and $2 the second argument, etc. So now if I exit the script again, and now if I run this, I'll get a different hash. But if I run this with hello.txt, we still get the original hash for the hello. So this is now the correct script, and we have also checked it with the hello.txt. So if you remember, the readme had the correct value of that, which starts with 133EE, and even our script is giving the same output. So now this is just us writing the script but not submitting it. For us to evaluate it, whether it's correct or not and whether it's right, and then to submit it, what we can do is we can type synchro eval, and now this will tell us that the public test case evaluation successful, private test case submission successful. So this means that our script was correct and it has been successfully submitted. So this has been now marked in the database that you have completed this question. So similarly, you can then go back. So as you can see now, if we do synchro eval with the correct script, it is giving us evaluation successful, submission successful. So that is because we have this script.sh which has the script which does this correctly by taking the SHA-256 sum of the given argument and then cutting it with space and getting the first field. So you can also run it manually by using script.sh, and then you can give any other file. For example, I can give the script.sh itself. So the hash of this file is this one. Similarly, we can give any other file. For example, I can give the readme in my home directory, which is this one. So this script is thus correct, and we can see the output of synchro eval gives us success. So similarly, now you can go back and you can see now we only have this assignment 0. So you can create folder for other ones also. So you can mkdir for assignment 1, and you can cd into assignment 1, and here you can do synchro show, and you can see the question here as well. So here also you'll have to create a script. So you have to use the vim script.sh or whichever command you're using. If you are not familiar with Vim, please use a command line editor that you are familiar with, such as Nano or Emacs. And here we can just write the script that we want to write. So I'll not go over how to solve assignment 1 because this is a graded assignment. But once you have done the assignment and you have saved the file, so make sure to save the file and also make it executable. So if you see, if we just do synchro eval now, it will tell that the script is not executable. It might also tell that there is a permission denied. So make sure after creating the script you have always made it executable by doing chmod u plus x script.sh. So now if we do synchro eval, so the output is not correct, but at least we do not get the not executable. So you have to then write the correct command in the script.sh and then run synchro eval to see if your code was correct or not. So similarly you can create all the other folders. So you can see here we just have assignment 0 and assignment 1, but you can create the folders for all these assignments. So assignment 0 to assignment 10, these are the VM assignments which are deadlined till the end term, whereas these practice questions are for practicing each week's content. So whenever you're done with studying week 2, go through the week 2 to week 2.10, and after you're done week 3, do the week 3 practice questions, and then when you're done week 4, do the week 4 practice questions, etc. And when you are having the NPP, you will be able to solve the NPP questions. And then when you have the OPP, all these folders will no longer be there. You will just have the OPP questions there. So similarly, you'll have to create a folder for each of the OPP questions in your home directory. So only create the folders if the folder is not already created for you. So here in this case, you can see assignment 0 and assignment 1 we created. Similarly, it might be the case that the OPP folders are already created in your home directory. In that case, you don't have to create the folder again. You simply have to go inside that folder, and there you have to do synchro show to see the question, and you have to write a script, and then you have to make it executable using chmod u plus x, and then you have to run synchro eval to see if your script was correct or not. So if it is successful, that means you have submitted this and it is passed. So you can then move on to the next question.